I love that I don't stop growing. I love that my clients don't stop growing. Just last night, I did 3 group calls last night. And I was expressing what I had faced in a workshop, a furthering education workshop that I had taken, witnessing the leader ask one of the participants who was complaining a bit about not being able to find love. And the leader said, "What in you needs to die in order to have a great man?" And the woman went on to discover, well, what has to die is the belief that there are no great men, or there are no great men who want me. So a lot of beliefs, which are, to me, based on unintegrated wounds from childhood or past life, where unfair abandonment, betrayal, lack of unconditional acceptance, whatever it was created. So I brought this question to the group last night. And I so respect how deep my clients go so fast. They know it is an unconditionally accepting, unconditionally loving, safe place. They know I'm not going to judge them. They know that I always show up vulnerably, transparently with my own evolution. They know that I'm masterful at what I know, and I also am a student, a forever student of life, of relationship. And so I was explaining to them what needed to die in me in order to have the life that I choose. And right now, at the recording of this intro for the podcast with my amazing client, Juan, who came to the retreat for the first time in 9 years being a client. So good. I was sharing with him that one of the things that needs to die for me to be fulfilled, it's the next layer of faith in the universe. That if I keep showing up, it will fall into place, rather than settling or shortchanging myself or not fully going for it, like sort of sabotaging myself before I even get there so I won't be disappointed, this kind of thing, like really fucking go for it. And literally in a couple days, I'm going to be doing that and moving to Santa Fe. This is a move, not for a man, not for my son, not for work, for my soul. I haven't done that in 35 years since I left Canada to move to LA, which then ended up being Tokyo. So I'm moving to Santa Fe. Who the hell knows where it's going to turn to from there, if it's going to be where I end up or if there's going to be another place. But as Juan was answering this question, he was the third to share, and he was listening, I could tell, impeccably to the other gentleman on the call. And he was so vulnerably sharing he could see the behavior that needed to die. And the behavior is like when he first meets women, he will be in his heart, be in his body, be authentic, be in his truth, be in integrity, do all the things. And then as he starts to go, oh, I really like this one, he'll leave his heart, close his heart. He'll go up into his head. And what is the statement from his beliefs in his head is, I'm not good enough. And then he'll start to believe it. And then he'll start to either stop being himself, try to control the outcome, or reject them before they reject him. Basically, he'll sabotage it. He friggin' saw it so clearly that this is the mechanism, the behavior that needs to die. So that's a great awareness. But awareness is not enough to change things. But it's the start. It's imperative. We've got to be able to see what's going on. We've got to be able to shine a light on the blind spot. So then it's like, what is it going to take to stay in his heart and not go to his head? It's not about having a better belief. I'm enough. That doesn't work, does it? No. Sprinkles on top of the ice cream cone of shit. Doesn't work. It's about staying in the body when the fear comes up that leads to the belief that I'm not good enough. So the fear in his body is, well, if they find out everything about who I am, I'm not perfect. They might leave me. So it's fear. Maybe it's little self-hatred or self-loathing. I'm not perfect. Well, nobody is. Have you got the memo? So it's about staying in his body and integrating fears in his body so that he can just stay in his body. It's not about a better strategy or a better thought, or thoughts thoughts not only change, thoughts get quiet and still when we've integrated wounds and stay in our body. So I just love this man. You're going to see an incredible podcast about his journey. And I just respect him so much because he's always present and willing to do the work to the next level. And his life just keeps getting better and better and better. And I'm so glad that I finally have met him after all these years. Danced with him. Oh my God. We went to this beach club in Mexico at the retreat. It was like downtime for the afternoon. And there was these really hot girls from Argentina, and he speaks Spanish. So it was so great to see him being authentic, being himself, and talking to these girls and dancing with me on the beach with all these Argentines. It was so good. So good to see him free. So good to see him free. Enjoy.
Welcome to Intimate Conversations, Season 13, Heart Broken Open, where intimacy is an inside job. Hello, delicious people. Welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations, Season 13, lucky 13. Can't believe, Juan, 13 years doing this podcast. Well, this is my amazing friend and client, Juan. I want to read his professional bio first. And I really love the time you've taken. And with all the work that we do, Juan, that you're really owning who you are and the difference you make. So first we'll do like professional, and then we'll do like personal. I'll ask you personal questions in a second. But let me tell you about this handsome man in the Boca Raton area. Juan Gomez is a passionate designer, artist, and entrepreneur on the journey to becoming a licensed architect. He is a dreamer with a deep desire to make a positive difference in the world while pursuing a fulfilling life. He aims to connect with like-minded souls and cultivate relationships built on growth, love, and shared values, and paddleboarding. I just added that. That's actually not in there because we're both paddleboarders. He's an adventure seeker and embraces new experiences, and he strives to learn as much as he can about the things that inspire him. From a young age, he taught himself how to draw and design, which led him to study fine arts in high school and graphic arts in college. And it was during college that he discovered his passion for architecture, ultimately earning a Bachelor of Architecture from a 5-year accredited program. Since his late 20s, he's focused on transforming himself into the best version of who he can be. And this journey has centered on designing his own destiny, supported by over 8 years of self-development, personal transformation, and leadership courses, such as AllanaPratt.com. And so for the past 9 years, we've 9 years. Yeah. Holy shit. While, yeah. We are recording this on my 55th birthday. So do the math for me. I was in my 40s. Holy shit. Wow. Yeah. We need to do something like we need to celebrate. We need to go paddleboarding for a 10-year anniversary. Okay. He's been working with me, who teaches self-love, compassion, inner healing. And I've profoundly impacted your life. Thank you, my love. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, you have.
Okay. If we cry, we cry. So in 2012, he founded Luxiforma Building Technology and BIM Consulting, where he's had the privilege of assisting architectural firms in several states. I didn't know that across the US. I thought it was just Florida where you live. Okay, cool. He's worked on projects of various scales, providing value through well-coordinated construction documents and innovative building information modeling solutions. Holy, it sounds very impressive, Juan. Additionally, he's helped homeowners design and bring their visions to life, create beautiful single-family homes, additions, and renovations. And through his personal growth work, he's come to terms with the challenges of his upbringing. Growing up with a father who struggled with narcissistic personality disorder really shaped Juan's early years, leaving him to navigate feelings of blame, shame, self-doubt. And working with me, helped him to heal these wounds, teaching him how to love himself, care for his inner child, little Juan, face his fears with courage and compassion. And his journey has also transformed his relationships by focusing on gratitude and self-worth and being present in the moment. He's attracted deeper friendships and meaningful romantic connections with people who see him for who he truly is. And today he lives with a sense of purpose, appreciation for the present moment, and openness to life's miracles. And his journey is about following his passions, building connections, and inspiring others through his story to embrace their unique paths with love and determination. That's a really great bio, dude. Thank you so much for sharing my birthday with me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm so happy to be here, especially, we've been working for so many years together.
Wow.
And yeah, it's really been such an amazing time to go through this time growing, you know, experiencing everything that you've been doing. So it's just been really great. Yeah.
Thank you. And for the viewers, I know some of you are just listening on Apple or Spotify, but behind him is a heart. And that was 1 year's client Christmas present or holiday present. So I just love that that's always in the videos. I
Yeah.
have this memory, Juan. It's back when I lived in Burbank. I don't know why, some memories really stick with me. Some, certain coaching sessions, they stay with me for decades. And I totally see where I was. And I remember it was the first time I even introduced the concept of little you. And we went deep very early on in our coaching relationship. And I was like, holy, this dude is brave. This dude can feel his feelings. This dude feels safe enough to reveal truth to me. And I was like, wow, this man's heart is gorgeous. So gorgeous. Do you remember that session?
Yeah, of course. I'll never forget it. Yeah.
Like profound, like it changed the trajectory of our lives. Um, so even just one step before that, and then let's talk about that call. How did you find me again?
So it's great that you started off with mentioning that call because it was during a time that I was just going through a lot of pain,
Yeah,
a very difficult time for me. And I found you after a couple of years of moving basically across the country. I was essentially used to live in Florida. Uh,
yeah,
I'm originally from Puerto Rico. Family
yeah,
came to Florida when I was 10. So I basically grew up mostly in Florida, moved out all the way to Colorado. And
yeah,
while I was out there, I went through a relationship that didn't work. Um, Consulting with a certain client didn't work out. I had also moved into a very competitive market out there. So basically, I was going through a time that was very difficult for me. Also trying to date again. I was restarting my business somewhere brand new, meeting new
yeah,
clients, doing a lot of things. But I always had just a lot of pain inside with everything that I was dealing. Even though I was involved, like you were sharing in my bio, in transformational courses, all these things that I mean were really impactful for me.
yeah,
They, I was hurt inside.
yeah. They didn't get all the way in.
Yeah, exactly. So I had wounds that weren't healed, and everything that I was doing was just kind of like pushing through it.
Yeah,
And, it was all about accomplishing goals and very aware of what I needed to do, which kind of caused me more anxiety and, the
yeah,
task list and everything I had to do. So that's kind of like the world that I was living in. And
yeah.
that first call with you, oh my God, just like
Mm,
you took me to a place where, I mean, I just felt so safe, and
yeah.
it explained so much about the inner child and, that's inside of me, and all these things. And it was precisely what I needed at that time.
Mm,
It just, that touched me so deeply inside. It was
mm.
precisely what I needed at the moment.
Wow. I know I'm not that much older than you, but I felt like, oh my God, I get to be his divine mother. Like I get to be this angel that loves, and you were just doing your best, Juan. But you were taught from the way you were raised to be motivated through fear and criticism,
Yeah.
right? And so you were a fucking asshole to yourself on the inside because it's only what you'd been taught. It's all you knew.
Yeah.
To take this different perspective with little you and not hit him over the 2x4 because he's not perfect, because perfect's not even real, and create communion, connection, trust again. Like, hey, little one, like you have every right to feel this way, and literally learn to reparent how you speak to yourself.
Yeah.
So tell us how that, and so for a lot of probably men watching, a lot of men have been raised that way, and their dads, aren't evil from planet evil. They just had their issues from their fathers, and they were just passing down. And I so respect you for ending the ancestral chain of treating men this way. I mean, there's such a high suicide rate of men because of this, and they think it's wrong to have a feeling. It's wrong to be anything other than brave and like, no, you're a human. You have fears. We all have fears. You have doubts. We all have doubts. So, how did your inner relationship begin to change? Your self-talk begin to change as we started working together?
Yeah, well, it all goes with what you were talking about. It's feeling our feelings. And I was like I was sharing before, or like how you mentioned in the bio, I was brought up in a situation with a father and a mother who weren't, it wasn't a loving household.
Yeah.
It was a lot of turmoil.
Yeah.
My father, from how it seemed like to me and all the studies and everything that I've learned over 20 years, it's like
Yeah.
he has some sort of a narcissistic disorder that um, really I became the scapegoat or a target of it,
Yeah.
and it put me in a state of constantly needing to be careful, making sure I
Right.
don't do the wrong thing to set him off, because it
Right.
always seemed like he was just angry and about to just anything will just set him off into like from from kind of always being pissed off to just 10, you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
anything. So I that's kind of like the household that I grew up in,
So you're
and
walking on eggshells all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically, as
Yeah.
that's a perfect way to put it. So growing up that way, um, I was the way that I reacted to it is I was kind of like rebellious. I was kind of like forcing this as like, this is not gonna impact me and pushing back on it.
Mm.
And it was just a state of constant turmoil, or this tug of war between me and my father, and me
Yeah.
trying to be the best that I can for my family. And
Mm.
what happened with that is that I set aside my feelings.
Right.
And the reason I sought out all of this transformational work and even religious things and all this stuff is I was trying to find
Mm.
answers.
Yeah.
And while all that stuff was really great, um, a lot of the stuff that I was doing was goal focused, and it was about dreaming big and dreaming bigger. Like, I could be, capable of so much more than I think I am.
Right.
And based around like what's possible, possibilities, and coming from a situation where I was constantly being, put down, or you're not good enough, or, this relationship with my father where I was the scapegoat.
Yeah.
I noticed that that dampened what I could really aspire out of myself and what I saw capable in my life.
Right.
I did all this work, and to sum it up, while doing all of that work, I was trying to make such huge goals and big dreams, which is great.
Yeah.
I felt like emotions and feeling my emotions was kind of like a damper to what I wanted to create. And
Right.
I remember very well there was a time that I wish I didn't have feelings coming up. I'm like, these feelings are holding me back from taking action on this thing or that thing.
Yeah.
And I operated that way for, a few years. And prior to meeting you is where I started kind of trying to acknowledge my feelings. But it wasn't until you doing your work where I really sat with my feelings, recognized the patterns, things about how I was raised, and mainly the wounds that weren't healed, on
Yeah.
why I reacted certain ways in certain situations, fear, feelings that were very difficult to process that I didn't want to process,
Yeah.
and how I ran away from myself and ran away from the inner child inside of me,
Yeah.
and being his best guardian or father or
Right.
partner.
Right. I'm remembering when you were living in Colorado, your work dynamics sort of mimicked your home dynamics, where the people that would hire you wouldn't honor you or wouldn't value you or wouldn't follow through or wouldn't pay you, or you know what I mean? There was conflict even in work relationships that were mirroring the home dynamics. And I think that's important for people to see when you're not aware of the wounds which are in your body, the wound just keeps looking for more familiar people and situations, and
Yeah.
whether it's healthy or not healthy. And so, what I've seen over time, and we'll go all over the place on our conversation, but then you move back to to Florida, and then there was a work situation, and now you're working for yourself. So sort of take us when you really realize, like, I some goals are great, but when they're not coming from your truth, when they're coming from trying to be good enough or keep up with the Joneses or look good or reach my goals so the girls will like me or get my dad off my back, none of those are your truth. And sometimes, you know me, you watched me go through my whole Heartmates, the dating app. Part of it was my truth, wanting people to find healthy love with people that want to do personal growth work. But another part of it was other people telling me what to do, who wanted me to pay them a lot of money and told me all the things I want, my ego wanted to hear. And I ended up, crashing and burning and shutting down 2 companies. So I know what it's like to not follow my truth and take on too much. So what was it like for you, and why did you move from Colorado back to Florida?
So yeah, it's to answer all of that, yeah. The way that we react to situations and the things that we've been through we kind of have like an unanswerable questions inside of us. Like for me, for example, would be like, am I good enough?
Right.
So most situations, what I'm looking to discover is, am I being good enough? Am I doing good enough?
Yeah.
So that shows up in relationships. It shows, romantic relationships and professional relationships when I was working at companies or when I was doing my own business with clients.
Right.
And a lot of the times that energy might bring about people that are looking to maybe take advantage of you.
Yeah.
Not everybody's like that, or or situations happen where that way of being um, actually takes away our power. It took away my power to really show up the way that I want to show up in situations and deal with client communications and
Yeah.
doing the right thing for me and my business, or the right thing for me as an employee, or whatever position that I'm in. uh,
Yeah.
that way of being and not handling those wounds keep us reacting in a way that doesn't serve us in our best interests.
Yeah. Yeah. There was such a old pattern. I'm not hearing it there much anymore, but there was such a pattern of instant defensiveness because that was dad,
Yeah,
right? And so the more we integrated these wounds, and you could be present and you could keep your heart open and you could be curious and you could ask questions. I noticed your communication skills really uh, excelling, excelling. So tell us what it was like as a Puerto Rican man, and you're in Colorado and you're all the shit, and then okay, it didn't work out, and I'm going to move home. How did you navigate that with and use the work that we do to not
yeah,
blame yourself, shame yourself? And would people would ask, like, why are you moving home? Like, how did you handle that transition, which was totally the right move? And there's been so many
yeah,
benefits for you being around with your mom. Like getting the roof fixed last week and being there when she had that episode, right? So it's been so good with your connection, and you guys have such loving, open, vulnerable. It's just been beautiful. But a lot of you could have felt like a failure.
mhm.
You could have gone there. So how did that unfold?
So yeah, the huge contrast between the time prior to working with you is that um, I didn't feel good enough, or what I had wasn't good enough, or the money I wasn't making wasn't good enough. All these
Yeah,
aspects of my life,
yeah.
um, and even though I had a lot of success, I mean, I lived in my own apartment in downtown Denver and all this stuff. Even when I had good months and good clients that were paying me, I still had this feeling that things weren't good enough.
Mm,
And uh, through it, it was um, a lot of turmoil with the type of work that I was doing, because I was an independent contractor, which was dependent on working with certain architects that gave me enough work and hours, and then on the side doing my own projects where they didn't really command such a high fee. Um,
mm,
what happened is that there came a moment that I just wasn't making enough income to sustain the way my livelihood out there, for example, and
yeah,
things ended in Denver.
yeah,
And I had already been working with you for several years at that time.
yeah,
And the way that I take it at that time, along with how I'm taking things now, is that I really acknowledge the part of myself that's being very courageous in following my dreams, in wanting to have my own business, in wanting to be an independent contractor, an
Yeah.
independent, when I finally become a licensed architect, an independent sole proprietor,
Yeah.
and have my own business, as opposed to letting fear, run the show and having to
Yeah.
take a job somewhere, and not following my dreams. But maybe I take a job somewhere, I'm not happy, but I live somewhere, I have a nicer car, whatever it may be. It might look better on the outside
Right.
to kind of make it seem like, oh, I've got my shit together. No, I have the courage to go down the path of I don't care what it looks like to anybody else, whether
Mm-hmm.
it looks to them like I have my shit together or not. I'm
Mm-hmm.
following my dreams, and that's really what I acknowledge these days,
Yeah.
with everything that's going on, all the ups and downs.
Yeah.
Um, I am still going for, I've got this one life to live, and I'm trying to go for these goals. And they're not just professional, it has to do with relationships too, and
Mm-hmm.
the people that I have around me and friends. Um, yeah, that's been the biggest difference.
Amazing. So, through the lens of I'm going for my dreams, it is instead of a step backwards, it's a coming home to my core truth. And I get to, I mean, you wake up first thing in the morning and you study. You study, you've got how many? Just two left, right? One left?
Yeah.
One?
Two tests
Two
left, and
tests left, and then you'll be a full-fledged architect. And you get to, I mean, my mom's been gone for God, 23 years now. So like you get to spend time with your mom and the conversations and the depth of intimacy that you guys with transparency and love and communication like is so beautiful. So I love that you've made this decision. Tell us about the decision to leave the last company and do your own projects and why you chose that.
Yeah. So, the when I initially came back to Florida from being out in Colorado, it was almost like 5 years of mostly being out there on my own, doing the independent contracting, my own projects and all this stuff. And where, again, the money thing didn't work out. I came back home to Florida, and I kept going with my studies for my tests, for my
Mhm.
registration exams. Um, uh, a lot of opportunities came up with work, and I kept, doing my independent contracting to get money in to pay off debts, to pay off all these things that I still had the
Yeah,
responsibility to pay for. And through putting myself out there, I eventually connected with a lot of people, doing a lot of work, and I eventually was introduced to some architects that do the kind of work that I like. I like mostly contemporary design. And through there, they had some really big projects, kind of like, the most important, the flagship projects of the office. And I was there as basically as a consultant at first. And then I worked with them full time as an independent contractor, taking care of these huge projects that took all of my energy.
yeah,
The energy that I had left over for studying was nothing. Yeah, I was
correct.
just putting everything into this job. And after doing that for many years,
Hmm.
I was making a nicer income,
Hmm.
uh, which for everything that I was putting into it, uh, I believe that it could have been valued more somewhere else.
Mm,
And I started seeing all of that along with my future there, and
mm,
only being seen as somebody that can handle all of the technical aspects of everything that needs to be done for these big projects and all the documentation, as opposed to somebody that can lead projects, which is what I've been
mm,
doing on my own and what I've done in other companies.
right.
And that, along with not having the energy to study and to create a future, I saw
Hmm.
it as a dead end,
Yeah, yeah,
and I wasn't happy.
yeah,
So, things needed to end there. And it was very evident that I wasn't happy. And now I'm back on the right track.
yeah,
I moved in back home. Like
yeah,
during the time that I was there, I saved a nice amount of money because I wanted to purchase a home. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm gonna move in with family as opposed to continuing to trying to look good. I'll just get
yeah,
a job somewhere else
yeah,
and whatever, and continue on that path of not making it to my dreams because I'm so busy working for somebody.
Mm.
I'm like, no, I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to move in back home. I've taken several seminars and courses to help me with my studies for my exams.
Yep.
There's 6 exams, and everything that I've done over the last many, many years, I've
Uh,
passed 4 of these exams. Excuse me. So I just have 2 left, and I'm here studying every day. And through working with Allana and the group calls that we're in, it it's
yeah,
really helped me just realize the position that I'm in, because at the same time I do deal with, oh man, I'm back home and all these things, that the conversations of from the outside, conversations that aren't ours kind of still sneak back in, and
sure.
I'm like, oh geez, I wish I was still living on my own and all this stuff. And those feelings come up and I feel them. And I'm like, no, I'm honoring myself and my time
Right.
here now on this
Right.
planet to create the future that I
Yeah.
want. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm focusing on.
I love this because we meet every single week. We do private calls from time to time, but we meet every single week. So those inundated conversations that, from the outside in make you question and doubt yourself, like we clean it up every single week. And so we get back down out of the head that spins and doubts, down into the heart where the truth lives, down into the hips where you're like, uh-huh, like what you know, and then you continue on. Share your most recent unfortunate client who really showed you what was possible. Yeah. Tell us about him.
I So when things ended at this company where I was doing these big projects and a lot of responsibility and work, I was back out on my own, and I was referred to several clients. And through one of the projects I was working on, the structural engineer that was doing all his documentation, um, we really got along, and we really talked about I got to tell him a lot about myself. He told me a lot about what he was doing and how he wanted to
Mm.
build a house one day, that he had a property, and that he was aware of, kind of like the architectural designs that I hadn't been involved with, and with the architects that I've been working with. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, I love contemporary design and that type of, that type of work." Um, and from there, I told him like, "Hey, I can do this house for you. I can design something and really create the vision that you want."
Yeah.
Um, and after those type of conversations, I just kept going along with my business. Me and him were in touch here and there for other projects and all that. And eventually he reached out to me like 6, 7, 8 months later, and he's like, Juan, I want to make my house happen. I want to do this, and I want to work with you. And it was the first time that a client chose me
Yeah.
for my abilities, for who
Yeah.
I was, for
Yes.
my portfolio, and all of these things, as opposed to a lot of the clients that I've gotten in the past. It was because they either met somebody that I was able to successfully do a project for them at a price point, or
Mm.
economically, or whatever it may be. It was never because of who I was and what I brought to the table as a designer.
Yeah.
So it was a really beautiful thing. We When we worked together on this project, as far as me, doing all of the schematic design work and meeting all of his needs and all his programmatic needs as far as the size and what he needed in the house and all this stuff. It was like we were like 2 little kids playing, it was
Yeah.
like that type of beautiful energy. And it
Yeah.
was wonderful, really wonderful. I really valued him so much. I mean, we would be on the phone for hours or in the meetings for hours, because we were just having so much fun, like
Yeah.
genuine fun, both of us,
Yeah.
trying to create it was really going to be his dream home.
Yes. Yes.
Um, so after working on that for many months, we got his home design all the way to design development level. So we could say that's about almost halfway onto the final documentation process to finally build the home.
Yeah.
Um, we were both so happy with the design and so excited. Um, I received a call from his wife, who was very lovely. She would be in our meetings, and she informed me that this client had passed away.
Yeah.
It turns out that he was dealing with some sort of a cancer, and he didn't really want to tell the people around his life. I imagine he didn't want to be treated differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she told me all about how happy he was working with me, that this was
Mm.
going to be like his dream project.
Yeah.
And through doing this work and really feeling everything and
Yeah.
acknowledging him and myself, I'm like, wow, like he chose me for like his dream project. And I
Yeah.
was just so touched by that. And I'm so grateful to have the experience of what it's like to have a client choose me and my services for what I bring to the table, my talents, who I
Yeah.
am,
Yeah.
our rapport, and the way that we get along.
Yeah.
It was the biggest gift in my life.
Yeah. Take us to the night on our group call when you had found out. What did the group call, the space that I hold, the community that we have, how were you able to deal with his death, the shock, the blow, the loss? Different had you not had this community. Do you remember what happened?
Well, it's just a wonderful space for to having other people that are doing the same type of work that you're doing to deeply listen and
Yeah.
to be there as I shared about, just how much that hurt,
Yeah.
that first that I lost somebody that I could see. I'm like, wow, like we're gonna be friends for a long time. This is such a great guy.
Right. Yeah, you
It was
cried.
well, go
You
ahead.
cried. You cried. Like, I'm like, something's up. What's going on? And so in these group calls, if somebody has a big thing, so most of the time I just laser coach everybody. We have like a theme, etc. But I'm like, whoa, whoa. And we created like space and you sobbed. You just sobbed. And I didn't fix you. And we didn't go to this wonderful outcome that you got to, which is he's now your guardian angel. He showed you your value. You can't rush that. You got to be with what's so. And I just remember giving you as much of the call as you needed to just sob.
Yeah.
And then the gift you were, Juan, to everyone else, how quickly we can die, how quickly life can be taken away, and how you inspired everyone else to drop into, have I said I love you to the people that matter today?
Yeah.
Do I work with, date, have friends with people that value me for me? Like you were such a contribution. Um, yeah, what would you say to any of the people listening of like the safe space it is to be a man with feelings on these calls?
Yeah. Oh no, that night being on that call with everybody, being able to express how much I appreciated someone and crying, really just letting it out was
Yeah,
it was such a beautiful space to be in, to process all of that. And it does make me realize just how things can, how fastly quick things can disappear,
yeah,
how a life can just, when it's time to go, it goes. And it taught me that processing my feelings around that and really feeling the hurt about it, but also the beautiful part of it. There's a part that hurts so much. It's
yeah,
like, oh, this could have been, you know, this client, not only was he a client, but he was the structural engineer. He was a structural engineer. So I'm
mm,
like, oh, it could have been such a wonderful relate consultant,
mm,
relationship in the future with my other projects, and he could have been a
yeah,
great mentor and friendship, and I get to design his house. Like all of those things not happening, it was the pain
mm,
in that, the
mm,
pain of him being such a great guy and such an amazing. The first time I had such a great client that valued me and he valued me.
yeah,
So it was so great to be able to process that with everybody, and it only has deepened my relationship with everybody in my life, with my time here now that I'm with my mother.
mhm,
um, yeah, it was
yeah,
just a beautiful gift to be in that space with everybody
yeah.
and be able to process that.
And you are a beautiful gift to all of us. And thank you that we know how to go deep. We know how to stay put. We know how to feel. We know how to go to the core. And then when everything gets quiet on the inside, then the truth arises, the gifts arise, the point of view of honoring the pain and the beauty all at once, right? Um, I can't remember if it was before or after, but you also shared. So we've been talking a lot about your purpose as a man and having feelings as a man. Um, there was a trip to New York, and you went out, and you inspire other men on the call a lot in how you just go out and have friggin' fun.
Yeah.
So share a bit about your confidence and how you are embracing being a single man, open to relationship, but not attached. But like you don't just sit at home because you don't have a girlfriend. Like
No.
tell us about that trip to, it was New York, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Um, no, it's something that I've developed for a long time. It was I'll quickly just say how it started. It was when I mostly lived in Boca Raton area in Florida.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Miami, and my brother was also living down there, and I didn't have a lot of friends. Me and my brother were really into different things. He's more of a homebody, and like I like to go out, get out,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I like to have my own adventures. Go out into the world on a Friday, Saturday night, or it could be on the weekend during the day. It's just me and the world, and I'm just gonna go see what I find.
It's so
Um,
great.
yeah. So I've been like that for a long time, and I did a trip to New York with my family, which has been another wonderful thing that now I have the ability to do. I don't have, well, I still have my business and a lot of responsibilities. I can still take time to take a nice trip with my family. It was for Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and that night, my family, they were going to go see a Broadway show, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go out in the town. I'm gonna go to like these jazz clubs, and I'm gonna go check out all these places.
Yep.
And yeah, I just went out and about, and went to a beautiful jazz club where I met some nice people there. And then after that, I just wanted to keep seeing music performances. So I found a piano bar, and I was hanging out in there. And I immediately, the bartender there, I'm like, hey, and we were just getting along. And then somebody else that was there, another bartender, she was there. We were chatting a lot. She was introducing me to people, and I just ended up having the best time that night. And
Didn't you have like fucking blisters too or something, wasn't it?
oh yeah. So what happened is that I was wearing these boots that
Yeah.
because this is like coming from Florida, it doesn't get cold like it did in Colorado and all this stuff. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I get to wear my boots and all this stuff. And I had these leather boots that I've had for years, but I've never worn them for like more than a few hours at a time. And I
Right.
wore them all day. And that
Right.
night, I remember,
Pain.
yeah, I was walking around and like it was hurting, and but I forgot all about it. I was having such a good time. I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna keep walking where I need to walk to.
It's so great. But then also this is so good for people to watch. Like, okay, so you have blisters, you could be a big old pity party, right? But you were like, no, I can be bigger than my circumstances. I
Mhm.
can just not walk across town again, but I'll go to this. And then you allowed yourself to have fun. You allow yourself to engage. You allowed yourself to flirt, all these different things like that. Other guys on the call, they're like, Juan, you go out by yourself? You're like, yeah, I have a great time. And remember, that's how you met your last girlfriend too, right? You
Yeah,
were
yeah,
out and about.
oh
So I
yeah.
think this could be a nice full circle that you do it for you do it for joy, you do it for adventure, you do it to honor your truth, and you're unattached to the result, and you end up having a great time.
Mhm.
So it can also lead to meeting aligned people to
Yeah,
date.
and the part I missed about what I didn't share about that story is that I had gotten to New York a couple of days prior to my family,
Yeah.
and I was out walking, doing as much as I possibly could. Of course, seeing architecture, experiencing things, all this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And it was the first night that some of my family members made it to where we were staying, that they went to the Broadway show, and I wasn't going to go to the show. And I was so
Right.
tired. I'm like, am I going to go do something or not? And I'm like, I had to like rip myself out of the apartment we were staying in to go do something. And that's when I got completely bummed out. I'm like, oh, certain things in my schedule didn't work out. What am I going to do tonight? My family's going to be gone in a Broadway show for like the next 4 hours. Like, what am I going to do with myself? And I was having that pity party. And that's
Mm.
when the walking around with the boots, with the blisters, was
Oh,
like
so you
on top
did
of
have
it
a pity
too.
party, but you turned it
I did.
around.
Yeah, I had that pity party, and I'm like, oh, I'm exhausted from these first few days, and I just want to stay in tonight. Oh, the blisters in my boots. Now I can't even walk as much as I want. And it took me kind of like going back into my feelings, feeling all that stuff. And
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
letting
Yeah.
that disempower me and lose the opportunity of another day in New York, I I felt it all. I just felt it. And I'm like, all right, all of this stuff that's bringing up fears, it doesn't mean that that my future is going to be that fear becoming real, which is something that I'm practicing, not just in that situation, but with my business, all types of situations.
Stop
It's
the worst
processing
case
my fear.
scenario, stay
Yeah,
present, feel your
yeah,
feelings. Yeah.
yeah. And that's what I did that night. And that's how I ended up moving forward and flicking the switch. I'm like, I'm going to have a
Nice.
good time tonight.
Yeah. So that's another great point is that you, by feeling your feelings and not going into worst case scenario, you can flip a situation on a dime and have an amazing experience that you would not have had you stayed in your pity party.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us, because I know your dream is marriage and kids and a family and all of this. How are you navigating? And you had a relationship which I'd say is one of your most successful ones, and yet you chose to bless and release her. Let's complete our conversation, with talking about relationship. How did you meet her? What worked about it? And then how did you choose to say thank you, I bless you, and release you? Yeah.
Yeah. So I met my last girlfriend while I was living um, somewhere because I was working with those architects. I was living in my own home. Everything was great. And I was just went out one day on the weekend. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go have dinner, at this wonderful restaurant by the ocean. And while I was there, I had a cute girl, coming up next to me because I was sitting at, eating my dinner at the bar. And I guess she noticed that on my cell phone, I was pulling up emails with all my floor plans and all this stuff. And she saw that and she's like, oh, what's that with the floor plans? And we just struck up our conversation. And, from doing this work and just a lot of things that I've done and meeting people and getting out there and just sharing who I am and wanting and being curious about others and asking questions, getting the conversation going, it's
Yeah.
essentially how we hit it off.
Mm,
And, from there, I asked her out, we started going out and we were really getting along.
mm,
Um, and through our relationship, it was really nice for me to be very conscious of the type of person that I wanted to date,
yeah.
as opposed to in the past, I might have seen red flags and said, no, I gotta try to make this work, or I would second guess myself about things and end up in relationships that weren't right for me,
Mm,
and going through difficult situations. But this was different from that. I showed up as the best person that I could be
yeah.
for her,
Yeah.
and that relationship was a gift to the both of us, I would say.
Yeah.
But it was also something that opened my eyes about the strength that it takes to lovingly end a relationship once I see that it's not going to work, that it's not for me, that I don't see a future for it.
Yes.
And it was the first time in my life that I did something like that through love.
Yeah.
Whereas other relationships that I had ended in the past,
A
it was
fight.
through, yeah,
Yeah.
a fight, or not a good understanding, not knowing
Right.
how to really share how I felt about it and why I didn't think things were going to work out, or that my stance was that this it's not working for me.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that, and also see in past relationships how I had been in relationships where the other side of the relationship wasn't capable of doing that. And I
Mm,
really noticed, like, wow, like this is really hard when you really love someone, but you're not in love with them anymore, and and you don't see a future in that relationship because major differences. It takes a lot of balls to be able to have that conversation with somebody and to be honest,
yes, it
and
does.
possibly hurt them while you have this conversation. And I had the courage to do that and to do it in how I felt was the right way to honor that other person. Whereas
Yeah.
in past relationships, some women haven't been able to do that with me and
Hmm.
caused a lot of hurt in me because they didn't have the courage to do that.
Right. Right.
So I learned a lot from it.
Yeah. You were very courageous. Yeah. And I can't help being the coach sometimes. So, like, I don't think you hurt her. I think you were honest and she was hurt by, or she was disappointed or hurt, but it's not you hurting her would have been having a fight, blaming her like this guy. Like, you didn't do that. You were so noble and so brave and ended it with such kindness. I really, really respect you for that. So this is also what's possible when we do this work, that it's like we do our best to leave the person better than we found them,
Yeah.
right? And be willing to stay open to the best romantic relationship that you deserve that aligns with you, and work that aligns with you, lifestyle that aligns with you. Like, wow, almost a decade, dude. Look at
Yeah.
you. I know.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say to somebody watching as we complete this conversation, who's considering doing one of those intimacy breakthrough journey calls with me and like, let's talk about what's possible? What would you say to them to potentially join our community and do this work?
Oh, well,
What
I
would you
would
say
say,
about like what is it like to work with me, or like whatever you think would be valid?
yeah, yeah. So what I'll say that what really brought me to Alana's work was, I found her while watching YouTube videos, because I watch YouTube videos for how to do things, all these types of things, and also
Yep.
for, following mentors and all these things. And I found
Mm,
Alana, and her videos were the only ones that were so compassionate.
mm,
They were really about going into our feelings and all of these other things that we've, discussed throughout our conversation.
mm,
Um, but it's such a safe space to say your concerns, to process them, to see what's behind them, to
mm,
see how we're taking care of ourselves. The little child inside of us, our inner child, how we're there for them, and to love ourselves, and really care for ourselves is really the main thing about working with
yeah.
Allana
Yeah.
that's been different from anything else I've ever done.
Mm, wow.
And yeah, taking that time for anybody who's listening, to make that time and make that commitment to yourself, it changes everything about how process everything in your life, which is what I've experienced while working with you.
Oh, thank you, Lovey. Thank you. And I'm on your ass. I'm like, when are you taking your next exam? Like
Mhm.
I give you, I'm a hard ass too, a little bit, but it's done with play, and it's always making sure it's in alignment with your truth. I don't push you to do things just for the sake of doing them, but
Yeah.
only to keep your word to yourself.
Mhm.
Um, and then we get to celebrate each other's wins
Mhm.
and party down at the end of every year with our holiday party and find out that people got engaged or got awards, and we celebrate. We celebrate. So it's a safe place to be really real, and
Yeah.
you're going to be held accountable, and
Mhm.
you're going to be celebrated.
Mhm.
And I just still can't wait till I can come and visit and be able to. I can't believe I've known you for 9 years. I've never hugged you, and
Yeah.
we've never gone dancing, and we've never gone paddleboarding. So that
the,
needs
the
to
day's
change.
gonna come. I know it. The day will
Oh,
come. We'll get to do all that stuff. And yeah, actually, to add on about that with the calls, like, yeah, being in a group of people that are listening to what we're up to, what we're gonna create, and setting out goals. It's everybody listening to you as like, this is possible for you,
yeah.
and keeping each other accountable. And Alana, a lot of the calls, you start off with giving us like a question to really ponder some thoughts about, you know to look at things differently.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of that stuff, along with the accountability, um, it pushes a lot of things forward in my life.
Beautiful. I'm so glad. Thank you for letting me love you and trusting me for the last 9 years. Holy shit. And I so respect where you've gone inward and outward, professionally and romantically, um, navigating death, like with your client. Like we've just been everywhere. I so respect you. And
Mhm.
I really look forward to the chance with the Patreon channel. That's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be doing all these behind the scenes videos. And when I did my sabbatical one, that's what I really got to once I slowed down and stopped giving to everybody, first and me second. And I took care of me. And I thought, what's my life really about? And you, and you're my family. Like you're my little brother.
Yeah,
And I want to be with the people I love, and I want to go visit them. And obviously have balance of self-care and all the rest of it. But
mhm.
I'm taking my own advice and shifting my world like you've shifted your world to into the architecture and your own company. I'm shifting it into Patreon, where I'm going to be showing these friendships, these relationships, this intimacy, this vulnerability, this we can tell the truth. We can have hard conversations. We can have, vulnerable conversations and grow
Yeah,
closer and
yeah,
play as a result, right? So
yeah. And I also want to thank you for, I want to thank you for providing all of this and being someone that does the work and being an example for me, when you share, the difficult things that you come up against and how you do the work and all that stuff. It's been such a wonderful example for me. And that's also a huge value in working with you. So I just want to say thank you for, all these years, of you being there for me, this community that you've put together. That's so special. I'm so lucky to be a part of it. Like, thanks for putting this together and that I get to be a part of it. Just thank you so much and happy birthday.
Thanks, baby. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for being so receptive to my hot mess when I'm a hot mess, and celebrating me when I knock it out of the park. So yeah, I love you. Okay, listeners and viewers, clearly this is a noble badass. You're an example of like the masculine that we desire in this world. Thank you for your beautiful heart. And if you're interested in connecting with me about being a part of this community, it's called an Intimacy Breakthrough Experience Call. It's right on my site, allanapratt.com. In the show notes, you'll find a scholarship for being an Intimate Conversations listener. So book it and I'll see you in my calendar. You'll fill out your application. I'll read it. I'll give you a little video of a little bit of feedback so that when we get on the call, we know each other, we know what we're doing, and we're going to dive in. And if you're a fit, I'm going to invite you to be a part of one of these wonderful communities. And I think by the time you see this, our retreat will already be over. But once a year, we do retreats as well. And this is a family. This is a soul family. And I consider you soul family, brother. So thank you. Thank you for this. And thank you all for listening. All my love. Until next time. See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. I'm really good at what I do. I often joke, don't ask me to cook for you. Don't ask me to do technology. There's a lot of things I suck at. I just got off a call with a client I've had for several years. And because of my skill set, because of the instant vulnerability, because of the depth of intimacy, because my clients trust me and they know I unconditionally love and accept them, they open and let me see so deeply, and it's so clear what's going on. They'll say one thing and it's like I can hear truth in a lie. I can hear where it's a lower third or fourth dimensional point of view ego that's locking them. I can see where the thread is all the way back to the childhood wound because we've coached together. I can see when something that's happening in real time is really a karmic replaying of that same core wound and an opportunity to integrate that into the fifth dimension, into that soul living soul contract. I can friggin' see it all. It's so fulfilling to so quickly be able to support people personally, professionally. All of these angles, it's all just about soul integration. It is so friggin' fulfilling, and how quickly and how often this particular client wants to talk over it. I'm like, feel, because I can feel all the energy coming through me. I'm like, just let it integrate. It's like another dimension. We literally go to another place, and then all the energy integrates, and things are different forever. The point of view is different. The trigger's not there. The situation's there, but the trigger about the situation's not there. So now they can be in alignment, be in truth, be in their power, be in their unattachment, and then worlds open up. I love this. And I love similarly with Juan. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Similarly with Juan, we've coached for 9 years. He came to his first retreat this year. And even though we meet weekly and we have our private sessions from time to time, there was something magical about him, what happened during the Become the One Mastery. So when I provided that to my clients, it was a twice a week course, plus they have their normal weekly call. So normally you see me once a week, maybe twice if you have a private session, but you normally don't see me 3 times a week, and you certainly don't see me 3 times a week for 7 weeks. That's a lot of Allana. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of commitment, of consistency, and it's sort of like 211 degrees isn't boiling, 212 degrees is boiling. Like you can get up to almost boiling and then you go down. You get up to almost boiling, you go down. But because of the structure of Become the One Mastery, 7 weeks, and I was there, We got up to like 211 degrees, pop. Juan saw something that has been eluding him his whole life. He's been suppressing it his whole life. He's been at the effect of it his whole life. But it came up during Become the One Mastery. And I was right there to integrate it. And the Allana Pratt method processes were right there to integrate it. And he unhooked from something that he's been shoving down for decades. So I so respect his bravery. I so respect the container and the processes that I take my clients through. Yeah, I respect his courage and his trust in me and his trust in himself and his connection to his little you so that he can sit in the fire and feel through all of this and be free. And be free. And it unhooked dramas at work, dramas with clients, or it just unhooked everything. And whew, he was free. I like my job, if you can't tell. And I love my clients. I love my clients. They are my family. They are my family. So, ladies, if there's anybody single in the Miami area, at the recording of this podcast, Juan is single, so let me know. He's a good man with a beautiful heart. So that was my little call to action for Juan. And he's an amazing architect, getting his last exams, as you learned on the podcast. And so if you want anything architecture-wise, also reach out to Juan. And then if you're ready to be in a container, a community, with a mentor, such as myself, a facilitator of epic transformation, not just relief, not just improvement. I go right to the core wound that's spreading out through your whole life, so that when we do so, and that gets integrated, physical, emotional, spiritual, vocational, financial, social, parental, sexual, romantic, like every area up levels, because the core has shifted. It's kind of like being at the center of a spider web, and it changes in the center, and then everything else changes without efforting, because your frequency is being different. That's what I'm great at. So if you're ready, I would so love to connect with you. In the show notes, there will be an intimacy breakthrough experience link, invitation to connect with me one-on-one, and a scholarship code for being a viewer or listener of this podcast. Apply that. You'll have a lovely, lovely savings, and you'll register. Then you'll be given an application. You'll fill that out. I will respond with a video, initially assessing what's going on, so that by the time we get together one-on-one, we're not going to utilize any of our time trying to get connected or tell the story or whatever. We hit the ground running, and I go right for the blind spot and show you what's going on. And then we discuss which path is going to give you the results that you desire in one of the most extraordinary communities, I believe, on the planet. I'm so honored by who I get to walk with and call soul family. So I welcome you. If it's a fit, let me know. All my love.